If so, the clerk will take the call. With 43 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is again in session. We will have the invocation from earlier today serve as the purpose of the invocation for today's session. Do we have introductions? Any introductions? A lot of guests here, which is wonderful, seeing democracy in action. Let's do the Senator from Montgomery County.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. We have a very special day today. Colleagues, as you may know, today is the World Health Organization acknowledges this day, March 21st, as a very special day known as the World Down Syndrome Day. As you can see, I have some very, very special guests, and I want to just take a quick opportunity to recognize them. We have Ian, Harry, Carmen, and Glenn, yeah, please. And they've been chaperoned today by Andy Culp, who you might know as Executive Director of the Maryland ARC. Mr. President, you know, earlier we were taking a vote on what time we should come in. They came from school and work, so they were telling me to vote green on 6 o'clock. So. All
right. Then beat traffic, made it here.
Exactly. And I also wanted to take an opportunity to recognize parents and other friends up in the gallery. We have Melissa, Daniel, and Funmi as well up there. So why don't we welcome them?
Welcome.
So, Mr. President, the World Down Syndrome Day is an annual March 21st celebration that brings global awareness and has been observed by the United Nations since 2012. And March 21st was selected because it signifies the uniqueness of the 21st chromosome, which causes Down syndrome. And today, we recognize the significant contributions of individuals with Down syndrome and how important they are to us. So what can we do today? We can promote awareness, celebrate all things wonderful about people with Down syndrome. First, you can wear blue and yellow. You can, like me, I don't know, Mr. President, but you know, you can rock the socks, and if you're not rocking them now, you can rock them later. The reason why the socks were chosen is interesting enough, the 21st chromosome actually looks like socks that are mismatched. Recently, the organization that provided the socks to rock said it well when they stated, through quality educational programs, good health care, and positive support from family, friends, and community, people with Down syndrome are able to achieve their full potential. And Mr. President, that is on clear display today.
No question.
So although today we pause to celebrate World Down Syndrome Day, let us continue to promote and support individuals with Down syndrome the entire year through. As we recognize this special day, we are reminded that it is never too late to seek a more inclusive and caring state and country. Mr. President, in honor of World Down Syndrome Day, I ask that the resolution that I have be read in full.
The clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to the Maryland Down Syndrome Day Coalition in recognition of World Down Syndrome Day. We commend your commitment to ensuring that all individuals have equal rights and opportunities, making positive and meaningful contributions to our state. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 21st day of March 2022.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the senator from the 27th from Baltimore County. The clerk will take the call. The Senate of Maryland unanimously celebrates the incredible folks here in the gallery, on the floor today, the Maryland Down Syndrome Day Coalition in celebration and recognition of World Down Syndrome Day this March 21st. Congratulations. Thank you all for your advocacy, and thanks for everything you do for the state of Maryland. A great way to start off our evening session here. Some wonderful Marylanders joining us. All right, thank you for that, Senator from Montgomery County. Appreciate the resolution and helping to coordinate guests who were able to. Thank you for coming on at 6. We know that it was a little bit earlier than expected. We appreciate you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you. All right, any other introductions before we jump in? No? Well, that echo you hear is the Senate only being the one in session. Apparently the House is gone for the day. You know, I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere right then. All right, we've got a message from the House. This is calendar number 26. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 179, Delegate Ampry, Work Group on Food Environments, EHE.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. They will be sent to their appropriate standing committee. All right. We've got calendar 27. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 73, Delegate Lewis, Baltimore City, Complete Streets and Safe Routes to School Programs Funding, JPR.
All right. Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. They will be sent to their appropriate standing committee. Another message. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 164, Delegate Healy, Public Institutions of Higher Education, Pregnant and Parenting Students Policy, EHE.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. They will be referred to their appropriate standing committees. Senators, just a quick note, quick reflection here. In between sessions, had just a short press gaggle about in between crossover and all the things that have been happening. And one of the questions was, it looks like the Senate has been, amending a lot of bills and, kind of finding some consensus in a lot of areas, but in a lot of the other, bills from the other chamber coming out very clean. What do you think the difference is? And, I think it was a very big difference between the two chambers. We are a smaller body, so it makes it a little bit easier, but, our committees have been doing the work. They've been doing the work. They've been having conversations. They've been working hard. And so I just want to say, I'm really proud of our institution and what we've been doing to really build consensus and tackle some tough, complex issues. And just thought it was worthwhile to reflect the great work that the body's been doing as we sort of close down here in crossover with the last month left. All right, we have layover calendar number 43. Oh, we're going to probably have to special order this one. This is layover calendar number 43. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 291, the President, Maryland Consolidated Capital Bond Loan of 2022. Questions on the adoption of the committee amendments and the favorable report.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Capital Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm still reviewing the 220 amendments. If we could special order this to the appropriate time tomorrow.
Are there any objections? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. All right, we have a few committee reports here. We'll start with Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs, calendar 38. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 830, Senator Elfreth, Natural Resources, Oyster, Spat, Shells, and Substrate. Favorable with 4 amendments.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, we are still trying to bring back the oyster, and even though they've had a good year or two, we're still not where we need to be. So the sponsor of this bill has met with many of the stakeholders across the state, particularly those who make their living on the water, to try to come up with some solutions, practical solutions that can improve the future of the oyster. The bill establishes various programs, goals, research requirements, planning requirements, and funding requirements related to oyster spat, oyster shells, and oyster substrate. It repeals the current oyster shell recycling tax credit and replaces it with a new grant program for businesses and organizations that recycle oyster shells. It establishes a new loan program for oyster shucking houses, which, as we know, a lot of the shucking houses have been unable to get as many people as they want to work in them. And it directs funding for oyster restoration both in the public fishery and in oyster sanctuaries. Mr. President, members of the Senate, there are 4 amendments. The first one is technical. The second one makes changes to provisions authorizing Marbidco to provide financial assistance to shucking houses, including clarifying that assistance should be forgivable loans. Amendment 3 alters and clarifies provisions establishing the oyster shell recycling grant program, including establishing a flat fee of $5 per bushel of recycled shell. And Amendment 4 strikes language that would have required an appropriation for the construction of a new oyster hatchery at UMSIS, University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science. It also adds language directing $2 million per year over the course of 3 years to DNR for enhancement to the public oyster fishery and oyster sanctuaries. Mr. President, I would move the 4 committee amendments and favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 4 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussions? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 4 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 830 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 942, Senator Griffith, Agriculture, Urban Agriculture, Water and Power Infrastructure, Grant Program and Fund, Establishment, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill establishes the Urban Agriculture, Water and Power Infrastructure Grant Program within the Maryland Department of Agriculture. The purpose of this program is to increase the viability of urban farming and community gardens and improve access to urban-grown foods. In support of the program, this bill establishes the Urban Agriculture, Water and Power Infrastructure Grant Fund and requires the governor from FY 24 through 27 to include appropriation of $500,000 annually to the fund. There is 1 committee amendment, strikes language providing for MDA to define urban for purposes of the bill, and instead defines urban to mean areas delineated as urban by the U.S. Census Bureau. I'd like to move the amendment and ask for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 942 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, we've got a special order calendar number 63. Do we have, can we check the chair? We only have third readers. We're good? Okay. Clerk, read the bill.
Senate Bill 956, Senator Watson, Criminal Law, Threats to Public Officials. Bill is on 3rd reading for final passage.
All right, Senate Bill 956 is on 3rd reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs on the bill.
Mr. President, I appreciate the senator from District 24 for first flagging this bill about health officers. The bill, as it came in, talked about a health officer being protected. We're all aware of the terrible threats of violence and even death against some of our elected officials. The election officers originally came in as an election officer or an election official, and it would apply very broadly. I have an amendment for the body's consideration that narrows it to simply 24 people in the state of Maryland. It amends it to a chief administrator of elections for a county appointed in a nonpartisan capacity. There's been, according to the National Conference of State Legislators, 1 in 6 election officials has received threats just this past 2 years. In Maryland, out of 24, that means 4 of our county election officials, at least, has been threatened. Dr. Gregory Branch, he was talking about how health people are being threatened, but 1 out of 3 local election officials have reported that they know of at least 1 colleague who has resigned, who has left their job, contributing to a brain drain based on threats, safety concerns, or intimidation. 10 states, at least 10 states, and that was as of a few weeks ago now, according to the National Council of Elected Officials. California, Colorado, Maine, Minnesota, New York, Oregon, Vermont, others have already passed legislation like this protecting our election officials. I realize that today is crossover. I have an amendment, and I have spoken to both the sponsor of the bill, and I like the bill. The bill's really important. We've got to protect our health officers. But I think if we miss an opportunity to also protect our election officials, we're being irresponsible. There is a House cross-file bill. It has been in the Rules Committee since February 17th. We don't have the ability to make sure to use that as a vehicle. I would like to propose that we move this back to second reader, that we amend the 24 election administrators who help run our elections onto this very important bill. And so I would ask that the sponsor of the bill or the chair of the committee, whoever would like to yield, if you'd like to reply to this query.
All right, the senator has moved to reconsider the vote by which the bill passed second reader. Let's hear from the floor leader on the senator's motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had an opportunity to speak to the senator with the amendment. I appreciate her concern. This is something that we took up in committee, and the question becomes, how far do you go? You know, do you want teachers? Do you want police? Do you want firefighters? I affectionately refer to this bill as the Fauci bill. And the reason I do that is because Dr. Fauci, in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, was merely exercising his role in his duty as a non-elected person, and as such suffered all types of death threats and had to have security surround him and his family. We discussed this in committee. We narrowed it down specifically to the health officer. It voted out committee unanimously, and colleagues, I ask you to resist putting this back to second reader.
All right, on the motion, the question is on whether to return the
I'd like
bill.
a recorded vote on this, Mr. President. I
Senator,
think this is super important, I really do. And to clarify for my colleague,
Senator has
this
not
is-
been recognized. Senator has not been recognized.
Okay.
Senator, are there any senators who have not yet spoken on the motion who wish to speak? Chair recognizes the senator from college.
I'd like to ask whoever can answer the question, do we have any other existing law on threats to public officials? Could someone tell us what they are?
All right, on the motion, the question is whether to reconsider the vote. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And so, yes, we do. It's in current statute. And so a state official, a local official, a deputy state's attorney, an assistant state's attorney, an assistant public defender. And so the reason why we added this public official is because they are a forward-facing, very public person. They're on the front lines. They garner lots of press attention and therefore lots of scrutiny. And so they receive an inordinate amount of threats. And as in Montgomery County, we actually had someone resign because of the level of scrutiny that they were receiving. They also pursued some greener pastures, right? So they had great professional opportunities, but the number of death threats that they received because of some of the policies that they implemented matches very closely with the public officials that are listed in the current statute. Also, they are appointed by the county executive, they are approved by the county council, and then also another board. And so because of the level of scrutiny that they have to undergo and because of the forward-facing nature of their job, we thought that it was important to fold them into what the public official definition is in the current statute.
All right, on the motion, are there any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak on the motion? If chair recognizes the senator from the 12th district, Howard, on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. And with all due respect to my colleague from Montgomery County, this is not to question the motivation of adding our election officials on there, but I do want to support the committee and the committee process in this for the health officers. This is really in reflection of the fact that our health officers are under unprecedented threats. In fact, there was a study that came out just this past Thursday from Johns Hopkins, published in the American Journal of Public Health, that found that there were 1,499 unique reports of harassment in local health departments across the U.S. in just the first 11 months of the pandemic, almost 1,500 reports of harassment. And those were just ones that were reported. They also found that 57% of state and local health department officers have been targets of harassment, an unprecedented number and proportion. 222 public health officials, both in state and local departments, have left their positions during this pandemic. More than a third of those who have left, 36%, have expressed that they experienced some form of harassment. Here in Maryland, we've lost 7 of our 24 health officers just in the last 2 years alone during this pandemic. Many of them, as was cited earlier, had experienced intimidation, harassment, whether it's the former Montgomery County health officer or even Dr. Branch that was referenced earlier from Baltimore County. Dr. Branch testified and had spoken to the Baltimore County delegation that he had folks visiting his house, and they were spray painting things outside behind his house. And these are folks that are really just trying to do the right thing. They're an extension of the Department of Health. They're now in this very frontward-facing position in their communities, and they're not intended and had not been used to experiencing these types of threats. And so, you know, this was really a focus to try to support these health officers who are still dealing with many of the after effects of the pandemic. Would urge that we're able to support this committee product and support our health officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the motion, are there any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the maker of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are a few things that were said that weren't quite right. First off, this was not the committee's vote. This is different language. The bill as it came in says an election official, and this is narrowing it down to one election administrator in a nonpartisan capacity, and that is one person per county. Second off, I also just adore and respect, admire Dr. Fauci, and so again, I support this amendment. The list that the chairman read was not quite accurate, because I checked in with the Attorney General's office, and the list does not include our election officials. It does not include. So it says, so in answer to the questions, the question from the good senator from District 21, the chair read a state official, a local official, and read the list under current law: a deputy state's attorney, assistant state's attorney, and assistant public defender. And that sort of implies that our election administrators might be included in a local official. The word that I got from the Attorney General was that only includes elected officials and does not include a nonpartisan appointed official who is being threatened. So I think this was important. This is a narrowing amendment, and I have also learned, I don't know whether to persist. I have just learned that there is a problem, there may be a challenge with getting this printed to get over to the House in time. I think this is important. So I am going to, for the good of the body and out of great respect for my colleagues and friends on the Judicial Proceedings Committee, I'm not going to ask for a vote on this amendment, but I hope that this conversation is heard in the House and that they will amend this bill in a way that includes our hardworking election administrators. Thank you, Mr. President.
The senator withdraws the motion. All right. Question before the body is Senate Bill 956, which is on third reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to correct the record and just state I was reading directly from the statute, just for the record.
Understood. Thank you, Senator. All right. Senate Bill 956 is on third reader for final passage. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 956, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, let's go to third reading calendar number 57. 57. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Joint Resolution 11, Senator Huff, solidarity with the government and people of Ukraine.
All right, Senate Joint Resolution number 11 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes, the Senate unanimously passes Senate Joint Resolution 11 with a constitutional majority off to the House. All right. We've got, let's see, third reading calendar number 58. 58. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 548, Senator Lamb, Local Health Officers Removal Process.
Senate Bill 548 is on third reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd District on
Thank
the
you very
bill.
much. I have a question for the floor leader.
Floor leader, will the floor all right. Senator may proceed.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, are there other local appointed officials that serve at will in our county organizations?
Well, we've got 24 counties, and I'm not an expert on who might be serving at will as opposed to under other personnel terms.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. President, I rise against this bill. When I was on the county council, I recognized when people step forward for service, including police chiefs, fire chiefs, county attorneys, you go into the job knowing that you're serving at the pleasure of the county executive. No different than the local health officer. I understand the idea of having a additional review. I don't think it's necessary. When all of our health officers took their jobs, they knew it was at will. Would request a red vote from my peers on this bill. Thank you very much.
All right, on the bill, chair recognizes the chair of the committee, followed by the sponsor of the bill.
Colleagues, we mentioned with one of the other bills that has been before us this session that health officers have been particularly hard hit, and that they are, in fact, serving at will. And there are not any regularized personnel procedures in most of our counties for dealing with these at will, where there doesn't have to be any charge, there doesn't have to be anything. So there really is a problem, and the bill was here because of the problem. We do think that we need some kind of a hearing process and to allow them to appeal a personnel action. As any of us would want, if we had a state job or a county job and suddenly we were just fired for no reason that is perceptible. We aren't protecting them. We aren't suggesting that they cannot be fired, but it just puts in due process. That's really, and I would ask you to support the committee and support our health officers. They need due process. That's what the bill gives.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill.
Sure, thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to step back for a second to look at where this bill started and where it is in its current posture. The bill, as first introduced, did stipulate 5 reasons by which a health officer could be removed. That was taken out by the committee. That was taken out as part of the committee process. So for these health officers, they are still at will. They're still at will in this. It does not apply any additional criteria or qualifications by which a health officer can be removed. What this bill does is allow for the health officer to ask for a meeting as well as written documentation why he or she is being terminated. So they're still at will. It's just that we've had instances recently where a health officer was terminated and could not get a firm reason, nothing in writing, and could not even get a meeting with the secretary to understand why he was being removed. And so what this bill does, as amended now, is it still leaves these health officers in a position where they're at will and they can still be removed for any reason. However, there must be written documentation explaining to the health officer why they're being removed, as well as if the health officer requests a meeting with the secretary, that the secretary has to accede to a meeting so he or she can explain to that health officer why they're being removed. It doesn't put an additional layer of scrutiny. I know we put a review process by the circuit court. That review process is a procedural review. It's not to review and overrule the secretary on the merits of the rationale behind the removal. It's really just a review of whether or not they follow the procedures as stipulated in this bill. So again, at-will health officers will remain at-will health officers. All of those provisions were taken out of this bill. All it asks is that if you're going to terminate a health officer, you should provide written documentation, and if he or she requests a meeting with the secretary to better understand why they're being removed, that they can do so.
All right. Thank you, Senator. All right, Senate Bill 548 is on third reading for final passage. Any further discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 39 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 548, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 554, Senator Patterson, Maryland New Start Act of 2022.
Senate Bill 554 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 554, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 706, Senator Zucker, Non-Public Educational Programs, Children with Disabilities, Cost of Teacher Salaries.
Senate Bill 706 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 706, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 869, Senator Washington, Baltimore City, Small Box Discount Stores, Zoning Requirements and Community Agreements.
Senate Bill 869 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 869, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 879, Senator Wallstreicher, Corporations and Associations, Ratification of Defective Corporate Acts.
Senate Bill 879 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? And anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 879, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 881, Senator Wallstreicher, Task Force to Study the Practice Known as Swatting.
Senate Bill 881 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 881, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 925, Senator Patterson, Prince George's County, Special Elections Conducted by Mail Voting Centers.
Senate Bill 925 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 925, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 951, Senator Heddleman, Education, Student Athletes, Uniform Modifications for Modesty, Inclusive Athletic Attire Act.
Senate Bill 951 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 951, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, let's go to 59, calendar number 59. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 318, Senator Rosapep, More Opportunities for Career-Focused Students Act of 2022.
Senate Bill 318 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 318, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 920, Senator King, Early Childhood Development Child Care Scholarship Program Alterations.
Senate Bill 920 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 920, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's go to number 60. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 259, Senator Feldman, Procurement Prevailing Wage Applicability.
Senate Bill 259 is on third reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the minority whip on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just speaking briefly on this bill, we had it in committee, and this bill for a lot of our counties is going to raise their price for conducting routine maintenance on things like HVAC systems. And, you know, we've had a lot of money flying through here. We have a budget surplus, but it's important to remember that a lot of our smaller and more rural counties particularly, even with money that's available right now, are still dealing with limited tax base, limited funds. Some of our larger jurisdictions already do this. There's nothing stopping a county from making this prevailing wage applicable to HVAC contracts and those types of services. It was stated in the committee in our debate that, well, a lot of already counties are already doing this. So MACO's just looking out for, kind of just looking out for these other counties. Well, every county has unique challenges. And when I think of Caroline and Somerset County, some of these counties that have not a lot of population, that are below the poverty average for the state, or out in Western Maryland, I just think we don't have to ram this through. This is something that could be done county by county. A lot of the larger counties like Anne Arundel and Montgomery do this already, so it's really not a necessary bill. And I just think sometimes when we get into a situation where we actually have a budget surplus, it can be very easy to forget that only a few years ago, a lot of our county and town governments were really on the ropes, especially back during the Great Recession and even for several years after. So we've done a lot of hard work at the state level to maintain fiscal discipline. There's been a certain amount of federal largesse, all of it provided by the taxpayers. I think it would be wise for us to reject this and let this continue to be something that counties can decide to do on their own. And I would urge a red vote.
All right. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee on the bill.
Yeah, just to respond quickly, just in a nutshell, a couple things. Number one, this bill has nothing to do with local prevailing wage laws for local government. These are state projects. Number two, what we're trying to get at with this bill is a couple of simple things. So in a big prevailing wage project, included in the construction projects, you've got HVAC work, you've got refrigeration, elevator work. That's all subject to prevailing wage. But then 1 week after that project is done, and there are maintenance contracts to service that very same maintenance work, that same worker who was paid a prevailing wage today, a week later when he goes back to do the maintenance, is not going to be subject to a prevailing wage. This kind of rolls that in to the process. And then thirdly, as was noted, a lot of our counties are already doing this, so this is aligning with a lot of the counties. And the threshold dollar figure here aligns with federal law. So there's a lot of reasons we did the bill. Again, it's a state project, good public policy. Mr. President, I just want to throw that in and ask for a green vote on Senate Bill 259.
Thank you, Senator. All right, any further discussion? Are there any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the minority whip.
We're not going to have an hour-long debate on this, but I do want to say something that I think is important. When we talk about talking about these are state projects, it's county county money going into this as well. And once again, there's no evidence that shows that having prevailing wage on some maintenance contract is going to yield to better results. I think it's an unnecessary grab here. It is true that the amount's in the federal. It is a federal amount that's approved, but I just think it's a step too far. We don't need to do it, and I urge a red vote.
All right. On the bill, any further discussion? Are we ready for the question? If so, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 32 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 259, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 295, Senator Gallion, Maryland Medical Assistance Program, Emergency Service Transporters Reimbursement.
Senate Bill 295 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 295, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 506, Senator King, Children's Therapeutic Child Care Program Funding.
Senate Bill 506 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 506, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 514, Senator Bidle, Transportation Investment Program, MARC Rail Service, Maryland Regional Rail Transformation Act.
Senate Bill 514 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 514, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 704, Senator Heddleman, Condition of Pretrial Release, Home Detention Monitoring, Alterations and Extension.
Senate Bill 704 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 704, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 828, Senator Klossmeyer, Family Investment Program, Eligibility, Work Experience, Community Service and Reports, Alterations.
Senate Bill 828 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 828, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 847, Senator Edwards, Libraries, Capital Projects, State Share Adjustments.
Senate Bill 847 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 847, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed.
Mr. President,
Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 36th District.
Senate Bill 514 from red to green, please.
514, red to green. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Senator from the 38th.
Senate Bill 704 from green to red, please.
704, green to red. Did we catch that? Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 704 from green to red, please.
704, green to red. 704, green to red.
Mr. President.
Yes. Any objections to the senator's request? Without objection, so ordered. Chair recognizes
704, green to red.
Senator from 31st is green to red, 704.
Mr. President.
Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Yes.
This is going to be a little bit of a waterfall, so
okay.
Senate Bill 704, green to
704,
red.
Green to red, all right. Any objections? Without objections, so ordered. Senator from the 37th.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. 704, green to red.
All right. Any objections on 704, green to red? Without objections, so ordered. Chair recognizes the senator from District 2.
I'm sure you guessed it. Senate Bill 704 from green to red, please.
All right. Any objections to the senator's vote? Without objection, so ordered. From the 36th.
Thank you, Mr. President. 704, green to red,
704. Any objections? Without objections, so ordered. District 6.
Can that go 704 from green to red?
704, green to red. Without objection, so ordered. All right. 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. 704, green to red.
Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Oh, my gracious. All right. District 4.
704, green to red.
All right. Without objection, so ordered. All right, all right. I think that does it. Okay. All right. We have 4 bills that we're waiting on printing. 4 bills. We have a B&T calendar. Let's just go ahead and do that while we're... Yeah, we're ready.
Mr. President.
Yes,
704.
Senator, Chair recognizes 704. Without objection, any objections? Without objections, 704 green to red. All right, let's do this. Let's do, yes, report on the Committee on Budget and Taxation. This is number 25. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 240, Senator Simon Ayers, sales and use tax, tax-free period for back-to-school shopping. Sale of sewing items, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 240 exempts from sales and use tax the sale of sewing items costing $100 or less purchased during the annual sales and use tax-free period for back-to-school shopping. There's one amendment. I kind of hijacked this bill to deal with another policy issue that relates to tax-free periods. The committee amendment alters the annual sales and tax-free period for Energy Star products by changing the type of light bulbs that are eligible from compact fluorescent light bulbs to LED. Simply being that the old technology is not so environmentally friendly and the new technology is much better. Move adoption of the committee report and amendments.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment, the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 240 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 274, Senator Hayes, property tax, exemptions for business personal property alterations, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. 274 increases from $10,000 to $20,000 the value of personal property eligible for exemption from personal property valuation and taxation for home business. The bill also increases the exemption from $2,500 to $20,000 on a statewide basis. In these instances, the bill prohibits the State Department of Taxation and Assessment from collecting personal property information from these individuals or requiring these individuals to submit a personal property tax return. There are two amendments. The first is technical. The second corrects the error in the terminology used and rewords a provision for clarity. Move adoption of the amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. On the amended report, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 274 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 516, Senator Augustine, Equitable and Inclusive Transit-Oriented Development Enhancement Act, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is a modest effort to enhance our transit-oriented development. It sets up a program for loans and grants, small ones, in transit-oriented developments to help improve them and attract people to them. This is not the big stuff where you're building a big housing project or a big office building. This is really more related to retail, more related to making small deals work. As amended, it has a one-time required appropriation in FY24 of $10 million to capitalize the fund from the general fund. And there are two amendments. One is technical and the other requires coordination with the Department of Housing and Community Development. Move the amendments and the favorable report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 516 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 709, Senator Elfreth, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Alternative Therapies Fund, Establishment, David Perez Military Heroes Act, N22 a day, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we are all too familiar with the devastating statistic and fact that 22 veterans a day on average across this nation take their own lives, much of the time due to untreated PTSD or traumatic brain injuries. Senate Bill 709 attempts to be a solution to this very devastating problem by establishing a PTSD and traumatic brain injury alternative therapies fund to support the Maryland Department of Health in studying the effectiveness of and improving access to, at no charge, alternative therapies for post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injuries in veterans. MDH must administer the fund and periodically consult with entities such as Johns Hopkins, Walter Reed, Shepherd Pratt regarding alternative therapies for veterans suffering from PTSD. In fiscal year 24, the governor must include an annual budget, in the annual budget bill, an appropriation, one-time appropriation of $1 million towards the fund. There are 2 committee amendments. The first makes technical changes to the title, and the second expands the bill to also include traumatic brain injuries and adds an additional entity for the Department of Health to consult with. Mr. President, I move the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 709 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 755, Senator Hester. Infrastructure grants, Federal Infrastructure Investment and Coordination Unit established, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the Committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a much bigger bill with a much smaller fiscal note than the one that I rose on about 5 minutes ago. This is about the federal infrastructure money that will be coming to Maryland over the next 6 years. It's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. This sets up a chief infrastructure officer in the state in the governor's grants office to coordinate the spending of that money and make it transparent so that the public and the legislature can understand what's going on. There are 2 amendments. One added co-sponsors, and the second requires coordination with the governor's infrastructure cabinet. Move the amendments and the favorable report.
All right. Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 755 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. There's an introduction. Does a Senator from Anne Arundel want to do an introduction?
Yeah, thank you. I have a student up in the gallery. We do our Young Heroes essay contest, and she came down with her mom, Zoe, and her mom, Sarah, and her last name is McCool, and she is very cool, does a great job, but she wrote about how it was difficult while her father was over in Afghanistan and the things she did, writing novels and also trying to clean up our environment. So if you give them a warm Senate welcome.
Welcome, welcome the McCool family. Very, very cool. Excellent. We appreciate y'all being here and getting a chance to see our work. All right. Where are we? Have we read this bill out yet? The clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 831, Senator Zucker. Education Support Professionals, Work Group and Bonus, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, colleagues. Senate Bill 831 deals with education support professionals. If you look out in the community, see your bus drivers and your para educators, they help in the classroom with individuals with learning disabilities. So what this legislation does as amended is it will create a work group to study the wages, and then it creates 2 opportunities for bonuses. One in FY23, which the Budget and Taxation Committee has already identified and fenced off money, and then an additional bonus in FY24. There are 2 committee amendments. One is technical. The second clarifies the individuals and requires the Maryland State Department of Education to submit a report. This Senate Bill 831 passed both Budget and Taxation and Education and Health and Environmental Affairs unanimously. I would move the committee amendments and adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 831 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reading. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 954, Senator Benson. State Retirement and Pension System Investment Commitment Use of Minority Business Enterprises, Diversity Among Asset Managers Act of 2022, favorable with 3 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from the capital cities, the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 954, as amended, will require a disparity study regarding the brokerage and investment services utilized by our state retirement and pension system. There are 3 amendments. The first, amendment number 1, makes technical changes to the title. Amendments 2 and 3 strike the provisions of the bill as it came in and adds the disparity study requirement in its place. I move the 3 committee amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 3 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 954 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 958, Senator Carrozza, Law Enforcement Officers Pension System, Crisfield Police Department, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the capital cities, the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, a number of our local police departments are struggling with recruitment and retention right now, and Senate Bill 958 seeks to solve that problem, or at least increase participation, recruitment, and retention for the city of Crisfield. So Senate Bill 958 is a local bill that would govern the transfer of the Crisfield Police Department as a participating governmental unit from the employees' pension system to the law enforcement officers' pension system if the department transfers LEOPS. Transfers to LEOPS. Again, it's a more generous benefit. We're trying to recruit and retain more law enforcement officers for the city of Crisfield. Membership in LEOPS would be mandatory for all current and future law enforcement officers. It would entitle current Crisfield law enforcement officers to eligibility and creditable service in LEOPS for their prior service to the department. And the bill also specifies the provisions in current law that govern the transfer of credit from the employees' pension system to LEOPS for affected members. The bill would take effect July 1st, 2022. There are no committee amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 958 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 997, Senator Eckert, Correctional Officers Retirement System, Talbot County, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, this is another initiative for recruitment and retention for our law enforcement officers and those who are members of our correctional officer and detention centers. So Senate Bill 997 is a local bill at the request of Talbot County, which would make the Talbot County Detention Center officers members of the Correctional Officers Retirement System, CORS, as a condition of employment, subject to Talbot County beginning their participation in CORS. Past eligibility and credible service within Talbot County transfers to CORS for the affected officers, and they are not subject to a specific credit transfer provisions in the current law. There are no amendments, and I would move the adoption of the favorable committee report. Thank you.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 997 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reading. All right, we have one more available calendar. We are waiting for one last one from the second session. So we've got 3rd readers. Maybe let's ring the bells and do a quorum call before 3rd reading.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 47 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Let's take up the calendar number 61. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 9, Senator West, Procurement Minority Business Enterprises Study.
Senate Bill 9 is on 3rd reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 9, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 250, Senator Hayes, State Procurement Payment Practices.
Senate Bill 250 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 250, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 542, Senator Kagan, State Finance and Procurement Grants, Prompt Payment Requirement.
Senate Bill 542 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 542, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 862, Senator McCray, Baltimore City, Maryland Transit Administration, Transit Services for Public School Students and Youth Workers.
Senate Bill 862 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 862, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Chair recognizes the senator from District 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I stand for a point of personal privilege.
Senator may proceed.
Colleagues, I owe an apology to one of our floor mates. You know, sometimes we're here for these long days, and it's been a long day. And we get punchy, we get giggling, we get laughing. As you heard it earlier, as we were changing votes, you make facial expressions, you roll your eyes, you shrug your shoulders, you don't realize the camera's on you. And unfortunately, the camera caught me when one of our colleagues was up. And I sincerely, it was not intended towards you. We were having conversations, and it was just going on. And unfortunately, the camera caught me. So with all sincerity, Senator from District 17, I apologize. I respect you. You and I have our differences. It was not intended directly at you. It was just the punchiness of the conversations that were going on. So, Mr. President, I just wanted to stand and formally let the body know I apologize for the seriousness and the professionalism that we try to show in this chamber, that unfortunately it slipped on me this evening, and I apologize to each and every one of you for doing that. So, Mr. President, I thank you, and Senator, I do apologize.
Thank you, Senator. Much appreciated. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Thank you, sir. All right. We've got one more calendar that we're waiting on, and it is waiting for printing. So, do we have a time estimate? 15 minutes. Okay. 7:30. All right. Let's do this. Let's recess until 7:30. It will be one calendar. We'll be quickly off once we finish it up. But it's one of the last ones that got through in the mid-session, and we gotta get over there in time. So, any announcements before we recess? If not, let's just, Chair recognizes the majority leader. Recess until 7:30. And senators, please stay close too.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand in recess until 7:30.
Without objection, so ordered.